Hello, ladies. If you've ever lain awake at 3 a.m., completely exhausted, but unable to switch off that monkey mind, stay with me today. This one is for you. Today's conversation is for the women who are exhausted but can't switch off. The women lying awake at 3 a.m., the women who are fine on the outside but feel completely overwhelmed underneath the surface. And honestly, this is one of the biggest things I see in midlife. So how many of you feel, those who are here live, those who are watching the replay, and by the way, if you watch the replay, type into the comments hashtag replay so I know you've seen it, but also so does Facebook, so that you get to see more things on the same topic. So tell me, ladies, how many of you feel wired but tired? Maybe emotionally fragile, exhausted but unable to rest, overwhelmed by the small things, like your nervous system is permanently switched on, even though you're trying to cope. And then someone says, maybe it's adrenal fatigue. Then someone else says, adrenal fatigue isn't real. And you're left totally confused. Here's what I want you to understand today. The exhaustion is real. The burnout is real. The stress overload is real. I know, I've been there, and not just once. But what's often happening is not your adrenals failing. They don't just pack up and leave town. It's your entire stress response system becoming dysregulated. You have something called your HPA axis, right? So hypothalamus pituitary adrenal, HPA. Right? So the hypothalamus is in the brain, the pituitary is in the brain, the adrenals sit, a little walnut size gland sits on top of your kidneys, right? So think of the HPA axis as your stress command center. Your brain senses stress, signals the adrenals, cortisol gets released. Cortisol itself isn't bad. It helps you wake up in the morning. It regulates your energy. It does some good things. It manages inflammation. It keeps you functioning under pressure. The problem is many women have been running on stress hormones for years. And then midlife happens. Estrogen's doing its roller coaster on its way out. Progesterone does leave town. The very hormones that were buffering stress start disappearing. They were your protectors, and they're leaving. So you're going to start feeling things more. Suddenly, small stresses hit harder. Sleep becomes lighter. Anxiety increases. Recovery worsens. Cortisol spikes more easily. So the women who used to cope with everything starts crashing. Does that sound familiar? It's like driving a car with the accelerator pressed down for 20 years and suddenly the shock absorbers disappear. That's what menopause feels like for many women. And as I say, you can either have a smooth landing into menopause, or it can be like a train wreck. Like that car with the foot on the accelerator and the shock absorbers disappear. Which one do you want to be? The smooth landing or the train wreck or plane crash or car crash? Okay. So the woman who feels this way, who experiences this, she is often the capable one. The woman everyone else relies on. She's worked hard, raised kids, supported everyone else around her, pushed through the stress for decades. Still doing majority of the housework, still contributing to financially to the family, emotionally supporting the partner, looking after the in-laws, juggling all those balls. And then one day, she can't recover properly. Exercise wipes her out. She's crying over tiny things. Her sleep falls apart. And she starts thinking, what's wrong with me? Who has felt like that? What's often happening underneath is cortisol dysregulation, sympathetic nervous system overload, poor recovery, inflammation, blood sugar instability, hormonal shifts, all interacting together. This is why stress in midlife feels different. So what are some of the symptoms? Some of the symptoms of HPA axis dysregulation, aka adrenal fatigue, things like 3 a.m. waking, exhaustion, brain fog, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, heart palpitations, sugar cravings, low resilience, crashing after exercise, feeling what we call tired but wired. You go to bed, you're exhausted, you crawl to bed, and as soon as your head hits the pillow, your eyes ping open. Right. Let me know in the comments if I've just described you. These are not random, ladies. And this is important. There are real adrenal diseases like Addison's disease, but they're rare. So when the doctor says adrenal fatigue isn't real, what they mean is there's no recognized disease called adrenal fatigue, but chronic stress dysregulation, burnout, nervous system overload, that is absolutely real. And can I tell you what I see women doing that keeps them stuck? They caffeinate more. I just did a consult. Lady who's just joined my Graceful Transitions program, and she says she can't even think about waking up until she's had at least 3 coffees. Yep. Before she even gets dressed. Okay. They caffeinate more. They exercise harder. They eat less. They push through. And every single one of these things actually makes it worse. Your body is not asking for more pressure. It's asking for rhythm. So what actually helps? Recovery is not just lying down. It's not going away for a weekend. It's not having a facial. It's not thinking positively. The body needs nervous system support, blood sugar stability, proper nourishment, sleep restoration, hormonal support, realistic rhythms that you can do and sustain. And this is why mindset alone isn't enough. And I know this pattern intimately because I've lived it. I was the woman who kept pushing through until my body made the decision for me when it just called it quits. And I had to put all those things into practice to rebuild myself. And the good news is women can absolutely recover from their energy, their resilience and clarity, but not by treating themselves like machines. You don't just pop petrol in, fuel, food, and keep going. But by understanding what your body actually needs in this season, the next spring. And you know what? If you don't do that, if you ignore your symptoms and just push on through, inflammation rises, blood pressure rises, insulin resistance worsens, sleep worsens, relationships suffer, emotional resilience drops. eventually the body forces a slowdown, or not, if not a shutdown. So today I want you to remember, you are not weak. Your body is not broken. Your exhaustion is not imaginary. And stress lands differently in midlife because your hormonal buffers have changed. And this isn't failure, it's physiology. So if you're listening to this now or later and thinking, oh, that's me, then this is where support matters, because the answer isn't another quick fix. It's understanding your stress patterns, your nervous system, your hormones, your recovery needs. You can comment stress below or message me privately or book a call to have a chat, and we can, where we'll start mapping these properly. Because you need to understand your body. You need to understand what your symptoms are trying to tell you so you can fix things at a causal level. And if today has resonated, I'm going much deeper on this, right, on all of this on Sunday. On Sunday, in a small live workshop, putting a maximum of 10 women into the workshop. So comment healing, send me a DM, the word healing, I'll know what you mean, right, if you'd like the details about the workshop. So it's this Sunday at 4 o'clock. It's via Zoom. You don't have to come to Byron. You can come to Byron if you want to, but it'll be held by Zoom. And just remember, you don't need more willpower. You need a new rhythm. This is, it's just getting that clarity. I want you to get that clarity and not feel dismissed when you get poo hard that adrenal fatigue doesn't exist. It's just the wording that the doctors try to dismiss it. All right, ladies, I hope this has been of interest and help. I look forward to, I'll go deeper through this week and on Friday in the live. And I love doing the live workshops. So I'm really looking forward to being in the space and helping you all realize where you are in your healing journey. That's what we're going to be covering, where you are in your journey, so you know where the gaps are. All right, lovelies. Hope you enjoyed this talk.